Alex. Welcome in. Hi, Noodle. Hi, Jedi. Hi, Alex. Hi, Muffins. Hi, Happy Trails. Hi, Pimenti. Hi, Orange Juice. Hi,
Hello there.
Bernie. Hello, Alex. Hello, Luan. Hello there. Hi, Ymir. Hi, Levito. Hi, C-Mac. Hi, Ginger. Hi, Twix. Hi, Aiden. Hi, Avex. Hello, Introvert.
Meow.
Um, Relax, Brayden. Thank you so much for the Prime sub. Thank you so much. What's up, Brayden? Um, Hi, Smelly. Stinker says the stinkiest of them all.
Huh?
A British man. Apex, thanks for the follow. Hi, Jared Dog. Mike's still trash. It didn't fix overnight. Yeah, I haven't really taken a minute to fix it. Thanks for the follow, Cat. Cape Hill. Maybe later tonight. Or tomorrow I can jump in and do some whatever the word I'm looking for. Mateo, thanks for the follow. What's the word I'm looking for? When you like test a bunch of different things out. What's that word called again? I don't know why I can't remember. And then see what's actually wrong. There's a word for that. No, experiment's not the word. Troubleshooting. Yeah, literally troubleshooting. That's the word I was looking for, and it just left my brain, you know? Oh, my face is so puffy today. Thanks for the follow, the anxious lander. Hi, Spaghetti Buddy. Hi, Volksy. Hi, Ultimate. Hello. Hi, Anxious Lander. Hello, Osmosis. Hello, beautiful people, beautiful friends, homies of Binkville. Let me drink some water. I'll be back in an hour if you're still live when I get home. I'm not sure how long I'll be live. It's gonna be a shorter stream today, just cause I'm not feeling very well. Pretty sure I'm sick. I'm medicated right now, though, so we're kind of chilling. Hello, Mateo. So hey, friends. Listen, homies. Would you rather have a streamer who reads an unmodded chat or a streamer who doesn't read a really good chat? Probably a streamer who reads an unmodded chat. Anna, thanks for a follow. I just rather have a streamer that tries to read chat in general. Drugged up. Not really. I just took some Mucinex and some activated charcoal and some vitamin C and zinc and vitamin D. And elderberry. Just trying to get my immune system jump started. Hi, Yua. Hello. She's high off that vitamin C. That'd be crazy if you could get high off vitamin C. That's what's up with vitamins, baby. When did you start feeling sick? Probably like, honestly, really yesterday was when it hit, where I was like, ooh, I don't feel great. Yesterday I felt really weak physically, and there was no reason for me to feel that way. And I was feeling like that the day before a little bit, but less. And I've been waking up with like drainage every morning and stuff, but today it just really all clicked into place that it's like, oh yeah, I'm sick. It's not just like, oh, I didn't drink enough water, or oh, I need to take this vitamin or something. Like, I'm just sick. But yeah.
Meow.
Thanks, Pimenti. I'll be okay. Unfunniest character, thank you so much for the sub. 17 months is crazy. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. What makes you the unfunniest chatter? I think you're so funny. Bro just subbed. What a joke. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. I've been kind of sick for like 2 weeks. I can't stop coughing. Yeah, part of what also helped it click into place is my stepdad has a lot of the same symptoms as me, and he's sick. So I think there's like some sick going around right now. Hi, Ben. Hello, guys. Okay. And also, my throat hurts just a bit, so that's part of why I want to do a shorter stream today, too, anyways. Come on, introvert. That's so rude. Basically, I love you guys a lot, but I'm not gonna read chat too much for like the next 5 minutes because I kind of I want to get this started. Bad News Bread fan, thanks for the follow. Um, I don't know. I was thinking about what I want to do for stream today, or even if I want to cancel it because I wasn't feeling too well. But I kind of felt on my heart to talk a little bit about my story and my testimony because A, I really love Jesus, and B, I feel like I haven't talked about it that much in a long time because if you guys don't know, I have my testimony up on YouTube for anyone to watch. It's 2.5 hours long, I believe. It's a long testimony. It's not gonna be that long today. We're not gonna go through every single detail. I literally put like all the details in there. But I kind of just realized that unless in my brain I always thought that like everyone just knew because I already put out my testimony. I talk about it every now and then, like I'll drop hints here and there on stream if you're around often enough. And my close friends hear a lot about, what happened in my childhood and my past and like the life that I led before I found Christ. But a lot of people, I was just thinking about it today. I was like, dang, like there's a lot of people who really just don't know, like probably majority of people actually don't know that much about me, or at least most people probably don't even know like my childhood or anything. I'm not gonna go like super deep or crazy. Like we're not getting into like each individual detail. This isn't testimony part 2 or anything like that. This is just going to be. Why do I feel like I heard something? This is just gonna be like, I don't know. It's just gonna be whatever I feel like talking about. It's just gonna come out. I kind of just want to give like a really quick testimony. So like a very, very shortened version of what my testimony video on YouTube is. Maybe with a couple details changed because a lot has happened since I've made that testimony video. A lot has changed. A lot of perspective has shifted. I've matured a lot in both the spirit and mentally. If you watch my testimony, you'll know that there was a period of time where I almost viewed my parents as evil, but they're not evil, and I love them very much. And thank you to Jesus, I have a relationship with them again. Granted, they weren't the healthiest for a while, but they weren't evil. Anywho, I guess, I don't really know how to start it. So, Luan, every time you post that emote in chat, I just feel like you're disappointed in me. I just feel so like, dang, what did I do? I feel like you're so heavily disappointed in me every time I see that emo. I just imagine your face, like, so disappointed in me. Just like, why is she talking about this? Why is she existing? Why is she... Oh my goodness. Okay.
Hello there.
It's a good emote. Hello there. Thanks for the hydrate, Zaku. Okay. Hi, Luke. So, yeah, I'm gonna just start yapping. Do a little quick version, summary of some of the stuff that I went through, like, growing up, to give you, like, an idea of what shaped who I was before I came to Christ. And I have no idea how much you guys know, so I'm sorry if this is something you've heard before. I'm sorry if you've already seen the video and you're like, alright, this is just a recap. But, so basically, little baby Hannah When I was a kid, I guess I'll start with my parents divorced when I was like really young. I think I was 6. It was like right after my 6th birthday. My parents divorced. I believe my parents were struggling a lot. They were both Christian at the time, and my dad wasn't treating my mom very well at the time. And granted, my mom also wasn't a perfect woman either. But every time they went to seek counseling or help, my father was very quick to almost manipulate the situation or be kind of narcissistic about it. It was like he would go to counseling but deny anything anyone ever said. Any counselor, he would tell the counselors they're crazy, the therapists that they're crazy, stuff like that. And my mom seeking a lot of help with like pastors and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I do think that there's a lot of people within the church who don't have ill intention, but lack a lot of empathy. Because you can have truth with empathy. Is the mic really that bad? Should I try doing this? Is that just a little bit better? I don't know. I hope it's a little better. Dang. It was doing fine before. I'm really not sure. Um, I'm sorry, guys. I feel like I have to stop doing is the mic quality that bad that I just shouldn't be talking right now? Like, I just shouldn't keep streaming. I should just fix it. Okay. Okay, it's not that bad. Okay. Y'all are making me feel like it's terrible. Like, y'all are, like, catastrophizing it. I know it's something that needs to be fixed. Don't get me wrong. It's been brought to my attention. But, like, I thought, like, you guys made it sound like I just should not continue. Turn down the volume on Twitch a bit. Me? Or just people in general? I can do this. Does this help? Or does it cut out a lot? So basically, like I said, you can have truth and empathy at the same time. And I think a lot of people get really passionate about their views and get really stuck on religion and lose love along the way. Because Jesus didn't stand for religion, he stood for surrender to him. He stood for love and truth, and he is love and truth. So surrendering to him, and that can look like, that can look like religion on the outside, because over time, surrendering, you stop doing certain things naturally, but that's not, following him isn't based on your works. Your works just come naturally as you follow him. But I think a lot of people in the church do get, including myself sometimes, I think people can pretty easily get stuck on the black and white of everything and lose a lot of empathy along the way. And unfortunately, when this divorce was going on, or well, before the divorce was going on, my mom would go to pastors and stuff for advice and for help, and it was just a lot of condemnation and a lot of shame that was just poured on my mom for it was just kind of like a lot of, oh well, you made the choice to marry this man, got to deal with it now. Yeah, if you're coming here to ask me to tell you to divorce him, you're not gonna get it. Like that was the way. That was almost like the attitude she was receiving from people from the church, and so it made my mom kind of turn her back on the church. Like it hurt her a lot, which made it really sad. But that's part of why I didn't really grow up with like Jesus as the center of my home or anything, because my mom hadn't had that intimacy with Christ, and she hadn't met people who had the love of Christ pouring out on her. And my dad, as you can tell, he wasn't the greatest dad. he was a very angry man and was in a lot of bondage, and so was my mom. And so my mom found out that my dad had cheated on her, and they divorced when I was like about a week, no, a little less than a week after my 6th birthday. So I turned 6, and then bam, divorce. I went to my aunt's house. My aunt at the time, she was going through some marital stuff as well, but my mom didn't really have income. The My mom was now a single mom, and it was really hard because we were alone in Texas. The only person she knew was my aunt. The rest of our family was in Louisiana. And my dad had most of the money at the time, so my mom was just having a really hard time. So we slept on a mattress in my aunt's kitchen for a little less than a year after that. But I loved it. I got to play Disney games on their computer. I got to hang out with my cousins. It was nice. So after that, I'm just kind of fast forwarding through like all the peak moments. I think a while after that, like we moved into an apartment. Me and my sister shared a room pretty much all my life. I had my own room for like a 1 year. My entire life up until I moved out of my parents' house, I shared a room with my sister. Unfortunately, my sister was not very good at handling everything going on. My sister was 2 years older than me, and she kind of turned into a bit of a bully towards me. All the frustration and hurt and anger and inward struggle that she had inside, she kind of turned onto me. So living my life where I didn't have much privacy, and my life was just kind of lived with a bit of a bully, from elementary school to high school. Like I was dorming with my biggest bully, my biggest hater, which was kind of hard. No, it was extremely hard. Like me and my sister got to the point pretty later on, like in high school. It was pretty bad. It was pretty terrible. We would literally tell each other to kill ourselves. And that we like hate everything about the other person, and we would try to like figure out what the weakness of the other person is to dig super deep and like make them want to like end everything. Like we literally got so evil towards each other and so hateful towards each other. It got that bad because and for a long time it wasn't that bad. I was very much a people pleaser. I just wanted my sister to like me. But my sister would would use me a lot. And eventually, and she would still bully me no matter what I did. So eventually, I turned mean towards her too. Me and my sister are friends now, though, so no worries. Thank you, Jesus. Now, when we moved into this apartment, I moved to a new school. And while I was being bullied at home, I was also being bullied pretty heavily at school. I was like the poor kid and the weird kid and the freckled with braces, because freckles weren't cool when I was young, with braces and old jeans from Goodwill, because thrifting wasn't a thing when I was a kid. When I was a kid, you wanted Justice clothing and stuff. All my clothing was hand-me-downs from my sister and mostly had holes in it or was like just a baggy t-shirt and jeans. So I was bullied a lot at school for that. I remember once I really liked this guy, and I just I shared with like one person that I liked this guy, and then the next day like everyone was like making fun of me for liking the guy, and the guy was like, "Ew, no, I would never like you." And I was literally like 6 or 7 years old. Like I was like, "Bro, what? What? Guys are never gonna like me ever? Okay, that's good to know. I'm ugly. That's good to set in as a 7-year-old. The whole school thinks I'm ugly. That's great. And all the girls hate me. Oh, I'm not good enough to be loved and friends with. Okay. Oh, being poor is a bad thing. Okay, that's good to know. Okay, all right. No one showed up to my birthday party for the third year in a row. Oh, that's great. I love that so much. I also couldn't afford birthday party. Like, my mom did her best, but like, every year since I had a June birthday, I had a pool party in the neighborhood pool with a handful of cupcakes and like maybe like a banner, but that's it. There was never anything other than that. It was just a neighborhood pool party. That's all I had most of my childhood. And most of the time I would try to bribe kids. My mom would literally like send me to school with cupcakes to try to bribe kids to come show up to my birthday party. I maybe had 2 or 3 people ever show up. And I invited like the entire like class and the class next door. It was rough. And so I was bullied. But more than that, like the bullying was pretty bad. It got pretty bad. Like the girls were like, I remember it was physical too. Like the one summer, my mom worked. She was a single mom and she worked late. So me and my sister were in after school care most of the time, like the Boys and Girls Club and PASAR, stuff like that, if anyone knows what those things are. They're like government aided after school care. So during these after school care, a couple of the people who bullied me from my class were there in after school care too. And I remember that like these girls were favorited so hard by the teachers that there was one time that they literally dragged my back against the hot concrete and there was literal like bleeding and like scars. Like it was like a burn, it was almost like rug burn, but it was from concrete all over my back. And then whenever they told the teacher, I don't even know if they told the teacher. I just remember that I got in trouble. I wasn't allowed to play the rest of the day, and I had to sit in the corner and be in trouble, and the girls got away happily. Music spicy? Okay, I'll fix that. So it was just kind of like, it was like, dang, bro, like, okay. I just learned at a really young age, at that time, like I had learned at a really young age that I was never enough. My mom was never there. My dad was gone. My sister hated me. All the kids my age hated me. My family lived in another states, so I didn't get to be around them. I didn't have anyone. I don't know why I'm tearing up. Usually I don't tear up about this stuff, but like I didn't have anyone as a kid. I was very lonely growing up. We were too poor, so we couldn't afford video games. I did have a DS though. I did have a DS and I did get to play Mario Kart. But I did have a lot of anger issues as a kid because of everything going on, and I threw that DS across the room at my sister because she pissed me off really bad because she knew how to push my buttons. Oh my gosh, thank you, Zaku. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, that's so sweet. And then the DS like broke in half, like the top half came apart, and my mom was like, I'm not buying you another one because I literally like we don't have money like that. Like, I'm not buying you another one. You don't treat. I was so pissed. My sister would play her DS in front of me after that. I didn't have anything to play on. I was so sad. I also had Nintendogs, and Nintendogs went crazy. Chunkies, thanks for the follow. But thank you, Zaku. But
Meow.
so that was kind of that. We did have to go to like I went to therapy almost all of my life, up until I was like 17. The government, when I was a kid, like the government was like, because of like the divorce or something, they were like, hey, you gotta go to therapy or something. So I was just always like in therapy. I don't know if it helped. I don't think it did, to be honest. But I mean, I think therapy is super awesome. But as a child, the government funded therapy. A lot of it I don't think it did much because as a child I didn't even know how to process anything. Like I just wanted to be loved. Like I just wanted a friend. That's literally all I wanted as a kid was a friend or someone who like could spend time with me. I just wanted attention. Because my mom was just always busy at school, and my sister bullied me, and I was bullied at school, and I didn't have a dad, and my family was out of town. So I just wanted attention, man. I did become very creative, though. I was a very creative kid. I had a really good imagination because of that. So I did win in some ways. But fast forward to the next thing that happened. If this is a it's just if anyone like don't continue watching if like certain things kind of like make you go or like abuse or anything like that. If that bothers you too much, like you don't have to keep watching. But my dad had visiting rights, and when I was 7 and my sister was 9, I my dad had visiting rights, but legally he had to be within a certain vicinity of where my mom was. And my mom had to know where she was at all times, blah, blah, blah. So my dad came to pick us up. He took us to his motel place, his motel room. We hung out with him for a minute, and then he took our phone, because my mom gave me and my sister a phone at a young age, so we could text her or call her if anything happens whenever we're with our dad, because we were young, and my mom was worried about it. Well, he took the phone, and I don't know what he did with it, but he took it, and $14, $19 Fortnite gift card. Who wants it? Doom! No more Fortnite. My dad kidnapped me and my sister when I was 7 and took us to another state without anyone knowing. And and so for almost an entire summer, almost like I want to say 4 months, no, the police couldn't find us. And then the police finally found my dad because he pulled a gun out on a kid at one point. We don't have to get into all that. But so during that time, during this summer period, it felt like a year to me in my memory, but it was only a summer. Like I said, this is quick testimony. So we're just gonna fly through this. Sorry if there's details you want to listen to. You can go watch my testimony on YouTube if you want to. ! Socials and chat. My dad had a new wife at that time. Her name was Lisa. She was a crazy lady. Literally after all of this, after the police got us and my dad divorced her, she got back with her ex and then hit him over the head with a brick and is now in prison for life. So that was the lady I was living with for a whole summer in my childhood. She had 3 other kids that weren't related. And me and my sister were kind of like Cinderellas of this place. So anything that they did wrong, we got the blame for, as per usual. During that time, where we were living at that time was the ghetto of ghettoist places. Like, I'm not even joking. You would hear gunshots throughout the day. There were like a couple registered pedophiles on just the same street as where we were living. There was the kids that we played with down the street was a family of kids who literally all the kids slept on one mattress with no sheets in the living room. That's the kind of place that I was living during this time. When we ran out of toilet paper the first time, eventually my dad and Lisa stopped buying toilet paper, so we used a rag, the same rag, to wipe with, and then would wash it in the sink. and that was like our toilet paper. Like that was that summer for us. My dad during that time and Lisa during that time were drug addicts, and so they would lock themselves in the room and kind of leave us to our own demise for like weeks at a time. So there were days where we just didn't eat because there was no food. And there were other days where we'd get hamburger helper for dinner. It really just depended. In the beginning, it wasn't as bad. My dad had a job in the beginning of this, and he worked at like a casino, and so he would like take us to the casino to eat at the buffet sometimes. Like, but the moment he lost his job and they started doing like a lot of drugs, I just remember it started getting worse and worse and worse. During this time, I was really abusive. My dad was really abusive during this time, mentally and physically. He would, anytime, like I said, we were like the Cinderellas. Anytime the other kids said anything, even if it didn't actually happen, if they tattled on us and told them that we did something, they believed them. And we would get spankings. But it wasn't just a spanking. It was, we would get beat. Like, he would use the metal part of a belt on our bare bottom and whip us until we passed out while reading the Bible. And that was like all summer. And it was just like, I just remember I was always so terrified of any time they called me into that room. Because we would literally, like, he would just do it until we passed out, and then he would literally, like, yank us up by the hair, and, like, after we passed out, wake us up, and then I was basically taught to lie, because he was, like, he, for some reason, believed that every time we passed out, we were pretending, but we weren't pretending, and so until we told him to his face, which... that we were pretending, which wasn't true. We weren't pretending to pass out. He would keep going. And so we just learned to just... Basically, we were like brainwashed to just believe whatever he said and say whatever he said, and took on a lot. Like there was a point in time where we literally forgot about our mom and believed that Lisa was our mom. And that this was just our life. So that was when I was 7 years old. That was my Sokolovo. Thanks for the follow. That was a summer of my life. That was just a period of my life. It's about 4 months. Like I said, the police finally found him. My dad lost full custody rights. And he went to jail and got sobered up. Now, my mom, we're fast forwarding to my mom met my now stepdad named Tommy and had a child with him. Now my little brother, Justin, love him very much. Cutest little kid ever. Well, at the time, my mom, I love her so much. And Tommy, I love him so much. They are great parents now. They weren't the greatest parents then. And it was honestly just because they had a lot of personal issues that they never resolved for themselves, and so they took it out on the people around them. They were just like us. They were just people going through life trying to figure it out. But I remember at the time Tommy seemed to have a lot of anger issues, and my mom was really struggling with a lot of mental issues. She found out, she now knows what those were, and but my mom was almost like bipolar during that time. We moved in with my stepdad, so we were finally in a house. It was my first time living in a house since I was 6. This was when I was 10. It was like I was about 10 years old when we moved. So it was my first time living in a house in a while, and it was so cool to me. I thought Tommy was rich because he lived in a house with toilet paper and food and air conditioning and a big TV. It wasn't even a huge TV, but it felt like a big TV to me. And so I was like, this is great. But I, unfortunately, it didn't, the this is great didn't last too much. It wasn't like horribly abusive necessarily, but mentally, you could say it was mentally abusive. My mom had and my stepdad were very angry people at this time in my life. I just remember like by high school, it got pretty bad. Like my mom was like, I just never knew if I was going to get my mom or if I was going to get like someone who was like screaming and yelling at me for no reason. That's how I experienced it at least. And I love her so much now, but that was just kind of like my experience. When I moved to this house, I moved to a new school. And so that's great, chat. We moved to a new school. No more bullying, right? No more bullying. Isn't that awesome? No. I was still bullied at this new school. I had gotten really into anime up until this point. I'd really like, and anime was not cool when I was young. It was not cool. Like, you were weird if you watched anime. You were so weird. And so it wasn't just that. It was other things. I was still called ugly. I was scrawny. You might not believe me because I'm pretty tall for a woman now, but I was really small for a long period of my life. Like when I was in middle school, I was like 4 foot. I don't know. I think I was like 4'6", 4'7". For most of middle school, and like by 8th grade, I was like 4'11". I'd almost hit 5 feet by 8th grade. I was really small. I was also put on ADHD meds. So when I turned, like I said, oh, I forgot to say this. You know how the government funded, the government was like, yeah, your kids need to go to therapy. They also put us in psychiatry, and they prescribed us with medication. They said that I had really bad ADHD. So as a 6-year-old up until I was like 15, they put me on like, at one point it was Adderall. They put me on Adderall as a kid. I don't know what child needs to grow up on Adderall, but I was. and then they changed it to methylphenidate, which isn't great either. So I had a lot of like mental issues growing up. It was like all the cards were literally stacked against me, bro. Chat, you don't even understand. Like, life wasn't just handed to me on a silver platter. So I was bullied a lot in middle school. I was still told I was the ugly kid. Every time I had a crush, I was made fun of for it. I was genuinely led to believe that I can only be loved if I'm good enough to be loved, and I was still really lonely. I was still bullied at home. Even though now I had a new dad, I didn't feel like he was a dad. He felt more like my mom's person than mine. They were both still pretty, like, wishy-washy, like, kind of, like, with anger and bipolar. It was just really confusing being home. And I shared a room with my sister, and my sister was also a big bully to me. She would, some days, like, if other people were being bullies to me, she would be kind of nice, but pretty much she was a big bully. Love her so much now, though. But, in 8th grade, I was doing, like, theater and stuff during this time. I also really I loved theater. I loved being on stage. I loved being in the spotlight. Maybe it's just because it felt like I was finally getting attention. And then I also really loved watching PewDiePie and Markiplier and Captain Sparkles and Vintage Beef and Emma Chamberlain. And I was just so deep into YouTube. I was a theater kid who loved anime and loved gaming YouTubers, like watching gaming Let's Plays. I was bullied so bad, chat. I genuinely believed I would never find love. I'm not gonna lie. But what kept me sane through all of this partially was watching those YouTube videos. When I was my lonely, oh, why do I feel like emotional? When I was my loneliest, having people to watch made me feel okay. Like, it genuinely, like, they have such a YouTube and just having people to like watch that felt like my best friend online. Those parasocial relationships, they saved my life a lot of times. They have a special place in my heart. Funny enough. Now fast forward to 8th grade. 8th grade, I think something that like became really bad is I started really struggling with being like low-key a pathological liar in 8th grade because I found out that people liked me more if I lied. If I did things, thank you so much. I like my nails too. If I did things that got people to like me, like lying about how much money I had, lying so that I could make so I could get along with people, lying saying that people like me or a guy likes them or whatever, it made people like me more and I got more attention. That led to there was this one girl who was like she said she was my best friend at the time. This was the first time in my life anyone had ever told me they were my best friend. Literally the first time in my life anyone has told me they're my best friend. I was 14 when somebody told me for the first time in my life, I'm your best friend. You're my best friend. She then she used me to shoplift for her hundreds of dollars of clothes at the mall. And then eventually the guilt hit me really bad and I told my mom and I went back and I apologized and I gave the stuff back and I couldn't talk to this girl anymore. And when I talked to this girl, she introduced me to like something called the emo phase. So this is the enter of Hannah emo phase, low key. Hannah sleeping with sirens, Panic at the Disco. Like this is Hannah emo phase. And my mom took away my phone. This was the beginning of a lot. This was the beginning of a lot. When my mom took away my phone, considering I didn't have any close friends and no one my age lived in the neighborhood I lived in, and my sister was a bully at home, and that was kind of where I found the YouTubers, the things that made me feel okay. There was a lot, like, it was basically taking away my social life to take away my phone because I didn't have friends. So my phone, I had online friends. I was what parents are worried about now. Before it was even a big thing. Like if VR chat was a thing and I had the money to have that, I would have been the kid who was falling asleep with the VR headset on. Like that was where my heart was at. So I didn't get into gaming either, just so you guys know. I only watched gamers play games because I couldn't afford a PC or the newest Xbox or anything. We had a Wii, and me and my sister shared an Xbox 360 years after the Xbox One came out, and she would never let me use it because she was always using it to watch Netflix. And I was grounded from it a lot of times. Now in high school I was also bullied, but differently. This was like psychological warfare, bro. Like, I would make up on every time I made a friend, I would just remember I would get betrayed so hard by every single best friend I ever made. And I realized part of it was because I was willing to have anyone as my best friend. And the people I took as my best friends, uh, could tell. They could tell they could get away with pretty much anything and just say that they're my best friend and then it'd be okay. Because I was where I was at, you know? I mean, I don't blame them. Take advantage of the girl who's easy to take advantage of. Okay. So, I was just, there was a lot of feeling. I've always struggled with being a people pleaser, and I love people. If you guys don't already know this, I'm a total extrovert. So it was just so hard for me growing up my whole life, being a social butterfly, being an extrovert, being someone I love people so much, being someone who loves people just to be spit on by everyone around me. Um and like this sounds like such like a victimhood story. There was a lot of good. I have some good memories, you know. There was a lot of good, but I'm just sharing like the biggest things that shaped me before I came to Christ. Um Now, when I turned about 16, a lot of my memories from that time where my dad kidnapped me had flooded back into my head, because after that had all happened, my brain just kind of shut off those memories. And at this time, they kind of just flooded back, along with just a lot of confusion, a lot of the hurt becoming a lot of like too much for me. School was getting harder. Um, so I started slipping with my grades. I was failing everything. Um, this was my sophomore year of high school. I was second year of high school. I was 2 years away from graduating. 2.5. Um, my parents took away my phone, so I didn't have a social life. I didn't keep up with social media. I never posted on social media. Um, I wasn't doing very good in my grades. I was bullied. It was just rough, man. I had a few friends, you know, like there are a couple people who stuck around, but I actually found out that at a pretty young age, well, I guess in high school, I realized that the few people who never hurt me were, there was like a handful of guys, friends that I had during that period of time that never hurt me because they liked me. So I realized so it clicked in my head, if I could get people to be attracted to me, then I won't get hurt by them because they're in love with me. So I started equating lust with love around this time. I started equating physical attraction to love. And so that was something that leads to something later. My dad never got his visiting rights back, but my mom let us visit him on our own terms if we wanted to once we got older. So we did that a couple times. We'd usually stay for like a couple weeks in the summer. And we'd always like my grandma lived near my dad, so we would always like go see her all the time while we were with him, and we had to keep our phones and stuff, and otherwise my dad would get in big trouble. And so like we were monitored, but my dad was doing a lot better for a while. He had started really pursuing Jesus for a little bit, but he kind of fell off. And then he started kind of going back to doing a lot of the same old stuff. And I just remember one time when I went to visit him, I had brought up what had happened when I was a child, when he did beat us and whatnot. And I just remember my dad looked me in the eyes when I was literally crying, going like, "You did that to us." And like you never truly, like, he never truly looked at me and said sorry for that specifically. He said sorry generally, but he's never, like, looked at me and gone, I'm sorry for that. And during that moment, I was looking for that whenever I was visiting him. And I just remember he looked me in the eyes and was like, it's not as bad as you remember. And I just remember that, like, just broke something in me. And I went home the next day. Like, I just left. And I didn't contact my dad since then. But then fast forward to the next, big thing that happened was when I was 17, I got a trap phone. And I snuck around behind my mom's back. And I started going on Tinder at 17. And I matched with this one guy who was 27 years old. And I did a lot of online flirting with this guy. And eventually that online flirting turned into, I will come pick you up and we'll go on a date. And I was like, oh, okay, let's go do that. I'll be okay, guys, don't worry. And because like I said, I had been really struggling with, I had started to learn that physical attraction was equated to love, which it's not, but I was starting to believe that. And so, and I just felt so lonely, and like I just wanted someone to want me so bad. I just wanted to be wanted so bad. And so I put myself in a pretty terrible position. So I snuck out. I told my mom I was going to work because I had a job that I was working at this time, and I went on this date with this 27-year-old man, and online, before the date when we were all flirty and stuff, I had talked about doing stuff with him online through text. And so when the time came in person, we were in the back of his car, and I did not want to. I was terrified. I didn't know this man that well. I don't even remember his name anymore. It was my first ever time. I hadn't done anything. I hadn't even kissed a man yet. I was 17. I hadn't even kissed someone before. And so, things escalated, and, I never said stop. I never said no, but I didn't move an inch. And I stared at this car ceiling the entire time, and I didn't move at all, and my face was blank. I disassociated throughout the whole thing. And that was my first time in any way with a man. It's my first kiss. At 17, and he was 27. When I got home, my mom had found out where I was, and I love my mom so much. Please don't hate on her. Has apologized so much since, and and her point of view was completely different at the time, but the way that she reacted when I came home was she pulled me by the hair into the garage. Every time, geez, like, one day I'm not gonna cry. One day it's not gonna make me cry, I promise. And my stepdad yelled at me. And called me names. And looked at my sister and told her it was her fault for being a bad example. And made me sleep in the garage. But the dogs were barking a lot, and they wouldn't stop barking. Thank you, dogs. So they finally let me inside, but I wasn't allowed to sleep in my bed. I had to sleep on the couch in the same clothes I was wearing. Ah, goodness. So, that was at 17. Then I remember after that, I tried to take a shower to wash off the disgust that I felt for myself. At that point, I had learned that this was all my fault. When I say that, I know it's not now. I know that that is not the case now, but Hannah, 17-year-old Hannah, believed that this was all her fault, that she brought everything on herself. It was her fault. She messed up horribly. And I took a shower, tried to scrub myself clean, and I just couldn't. I just felt so gross. And I went to the kitchen after that, and I told my mom that he didn't use protection, and she wouldn't look at me or talk to me. And my sister was kind of there for me, but she was mad at me that they thought it was her fault. So that was how my first experience with any man had ever gone in my life. I hadn't even, like I said, I hadn't even kissed a man or held hands with one up until this point. I hadn't even gone on a date before. So far, my experience with men was my dad and who beat me, my stepdad, who seemed like an angry man, and the men at school who were good friends to me, seemingly because they liked me physically, and this one experience with a guy. So after this point, I thought, well, let me say one more thing. I also, the man, that 27-year-old man, he stalked me after. I had to get a restraining order on him because he waited until my family, like, he literally waited till my family wasn't home, until there wasn't a single person home, and kept, like, except for me, and kept knocking on the door and stuff. So, yeah. So, yeah, that was the guy who stalked me. That's why, Luan, that's why it's really scary to think of someone stalking me. That's why the idea of somebody stalking me scares me so much. Like, I had somebody play a prank on me and make me think that I was being stalked, and I literally had a full panic attack because that was my experience being stalked. Anyways, so after that, I thought I was gay. I'd already been, like, kind of experimenting, thinking, like, oh, maybe I'm bisexual or something, because it was, like, if I'm being completely honest, it was trendy. When I was in high school, being bisexual became, like, a thing. It became the thing to be gay. Like, you're cool if you're gay. I don't know. And so I was like, dang, my friends are all gay. I should be gay, too. Literally, that's how, like, I would never say that to a person. If anyone asked me, I would defend to the death that I was born that way. But genuinely, that's what actually happened. And then after this experience, it just made me want to pursue the gayness even more. So, I was still bisexual, because I knew that I liked guys, but I just was scared of them. So I cut my hair short. I got a pixie cut and I dyed it blue, as one does after a traumatic event in their life. You dye your hair blue. Woman moment. Um, and I changed my style up. I started wearing thigh highs and skirts and sweaters and choker necklaces to school and winged eyeliner. I became the prototype of an e-girl, but with a blue pixie cut. Um, that was that arc of Hannah. Blue hair Hannah isn't real. She can't hurt you, blue hair Hannah. But so basically that happened, and then fast forward, I had other stuff happen. We're trying to make this short. It's already been an hour. I'll make it shorter. Fast forward, I got kicked out of my house at 18 years old. During COVID, I started skateboarding a lot. I got really depressed, so I was eating only fruit. Only a cup of fruit with some peanut butter a day. Like, literally, I would only eat 1 cup of fruit a day. I stopped. I wasn't eating. And then I would go skateboard for 8 hours during the pandemic. So I got really skinny Hannah, and I glowed up in my life. And during that time, I got a lot of attention. I got a lot of attention from boys. Oh my gosh, because I was skinny and a skater girl. And my hair was long again. My hair was long and brown again when we fast forward to this point. So, like, my hair was, like, to here. I mean, it wasn't, like, crazy long, but I was skinny, and everybody thought that made me pretty, and I got more attention because of it. So, cue the beginning of Hannah's eating disorder arc. And then I got a little bit promiscuous. I never got crazy promiscuous, thank you, Jesus. I think I got saved a lot from giving myself away too much, because after that first experience, I was really traumatized. So even though I was going to parties a lot and I was low-key a little bit of an alcoholic, I went to a lot of frat parties in my day. I never could do anything with a guy. Every time I tried to be a little promiscuous, I literally felt like I was about to throw up every time a man touched me, because it just reminded me of how disgusted I felt. So it took me a long time to get over that. So I was kind of protected from being too promiscuous, to be honest. And so fast forward to this point in time where skinny Hannah, skater Hannah, pandemic arc. I was 18, turning 19 that next summer. I was promiscuous for the first time. And, I regret it a lot. I wish I could undo it. Like, there was no reason for it. I just wanted, like I said, I just really wanted to be wanted, because my whole life I didn't feel wanted or loved, and I thought that this was at least something. No, I don't skate anymore. I just think it's so injury prone, it's not worth the amount of injuries you get from it. I'd rather just work out or, like, play a different sport. But, yeah, so I snuck out to go see a guy, and my stepdad had cancer at that point in time, which was also really hard to go through. And so I snuck out during that time, not thinking about how it would, if I brought COVID home, how that could actually kill my stepdad. Really stupid of me, right? And then so my parents' response to that was, "You're leaving." And so I left. I got kicked out of my house at 18, and I went to live with my aunt in Louisiana. And my aunt had a child. She is a cute little child. She's a cute one. Her name's Evan. And I was a stay-at-home nanny for 2.5 years. So I raised this kid Monday through Friday, but a lot of times Saturdays and Sundays too. I would wake up at 7 a.m. every morning with this kid and feed her milk and then cook breakfast and take her to play, change her diaper, cook for her, clean after her, take her to go like do stuff outside, read to her, sing to her, teach her her colors, teach her her manners. Eventually she wasn't even drinking milk anymore. She was eating whole food completely, so I was meal prepping for her. I was teaching her how to ride her bike. I was teaching her how to walk at one point. I went from not walking to suddenly walking with her. I was teaching her how to play. We'd play pretend together. We'd watch Bluey together. I loved this kid. This kid felt like my own child. Low-key, I did raise the kid for a couple years. My aunt was a very busy woman. She had her own business, and her mans worked on that business with her, and they were both very busy. So I pretty much raised this kid during that time, and I felt very attached to this kid. During this time of my life, I really... Thanks for the follow. I really got into like self-help, and I realized how broken I was, and I was like, you know what? Like, I didn't have any friends in Louisiana. I never left the house because I was always taking care of this kid. So I just literally became like a recluse. I became very introverted, and I went on the self-help fix Hannah journey. So I started eating super healthy. I started working out every day. I started going to therapy. I started journaling every day. I started meditating every day. I started spending time in nature every day. I started spending time in the sun every day. I started taking vitamins. I started to I dabbled in a little bit of Hinduism. I dabbled in a little bit of Buddhism. I started getting into witchcraft and New Age. I started to work with crystals and healing with crystals. I started to do tarot cards. I started to do trying to connect to my higher self through meditation. I started to read a lot of I started to read meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I started to get really into Stoicism. I started to get really into all these things. And I stopped drinking. I stopped smoking. I stopped doing all the drugs. This was before I came to Christ. I was like, you know what? I'm going to better myself. I started doing super, like, crazy self-care. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to better I'm mastering all the elements, Avatar Aang. I just really tried. Basically, what I was doing is I was trying my absolute hardest to fix myself. In my own power, I was trying to fix myself. And I tried pretty much everything I could get my hands on. I really tried. I tried so hard to fix all the damage that was done. So hard. Like, chat, when I say I tried so hard. I really did. I was raising a child, bruh. Like healing your inner child. Talk about that. I really tried. And then, this is the great part. I mean, the not so great part that leads to the great part. 4th of July, 3 years ago. 20-year-old Hannah. Gonna turn 21 soon. She decided for the first time in a long time to try doing shrooms. So she did. She went on her little adventure with her friends. And it was nothing insane. It wasn't like I was seeing things, but I was very much like, oh, I can feel the trees. Ah, they feel emotions like we do. Like, I was very much like that at the time. And then I remember my friend, and this was like I said, I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't drinking. I already quit all the drugs and everything in an attempt to fix myself. And so this was like my first time just doing something because I was like, you know what? Like, I was listening to a bunch of podcasts. I was listening to Joe Rogan podcasts almost religiously. And like people were talking a lot about like microdosing and stuff. So I was like, and how that helps people chemically and stuff. So I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe that'll fix me too. So I decided to do shrooms. Okay. I did it with friends. And it felt good. It felt good. I was happy for the time that I was high. And the moment that I realized my friend was no longer high and they were coming off their high, suddenly it hit me really hard. I didn't want to be sober. I couldn't be sober. That's not a no. We can't. No, I'm not going back to life the way it was. No. No. I can't do it. I can't be sober. No. And so I went home that 4th of July, and as soon as we got home, well, it wasn't home. I was in Texas at the time at a friend's home. When I got to their home, I got a bottle of Tito's this big, and I drank this much of it straight from the bottle. I had an ED at the time. I was not eating food. I was eating very little. Drank very little water that day. I hadn't drank alcohol for like a year up until that point. I drank all of that. Then I took my friend's dab pen. I hadn't smoked even in high school. I had smoked it. I had tried smoking weed a couple times. Never liked it in high school. Never was a fan. So I didn't have a tolerance at all. Took their dab pen, hit as much as I could. Went to a party. Snorted whatever was in front of me. Hit whatever that person had in their hand. Hit whatever that person had in their hand. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to hit that too. I don't know what that is. I'm going to drink that too. I don't know what that is. Kept party hopping and taking anything I could take to not be sober. Anything. Literally, I was sitting in a chair at the end of the night like this. Like my body was literally convulsing. No, my friends were high too. They were annoyed with me, if anything. They weren't trying to stop me. They were just annoyed that I had to take care of me. I just was so scared. I was terrified of being sober. That night, my friends were like, "Oh my gosh, should we take her to the hospital? Should we take her to the hospital?" I was terrified. I didn't want to be caught. Like, I was 20. I shouldn't have been doing those things, so I didn't want to be caught. So I was like, no, I'm good. Meanwhile, I'm convulsing. I woke up the next day like that. Like, I literally slept till like 5 p.m. the next day. I woke up the next day. Thank God I woke up. I didn't die. Thank you, Jesus. I really could have. I woke up that day and I looked at myself in the mirror and I remember I just looked at myself and I was like, I thought about everything I had done to try to fix myself. All of the journaling, all of the therapy, all of the meditating, all of the working out, all of the eating healthy, all of the videos that I took, all of the different religious things that I tried to do. I just went back to all of it and I was like, none of it worked. when I looked in that mirror, see, the thing is, before this, I thought they worked. I felt better on the outside. I looked better on the outside. If anyone looked at me, they would think I was doing way better. And if anyone asked me, I would fight to my grave to say I was doing so much better. But after that, after it really just hit me that I hated being alive, it just really hit me that I was just so broken, and nothing I did to fix it fixed it. I was still just as broken as I was before. And so I had a friend at that time who was Christian and didn't shy away from talking about Jesus, and they were, if I'm being completely honest, they were not a very good example of Christ. If anything, they were a terrible example of Christ. But it's funny how God can use literally anyone and anything to meet you where you're at. I remember feeling and thinking to myself, I need something. I'm done. I'm so done. I'm done trying. I can't try again just to fail. I can't do it again. I'm done. I just can't. I can't. It is too hard. It just felt so hard. And so I wanted to kill myself. I was ready to give my life away. But then I remembered how someone else worded giving your life to Christ. It was giving your life to him. And I just remember sitting there going, well, I don't want my life. I don't want my life. I don't want it. I'm ready to end it all. Like, I don't want it. So you know what? You can have it, Jesus. Take my life. That's literally how it went. I was like, I don't know what else to do. I don't want my life. I guess I'll just give it to you. Maybe something will come out of that. I don't know. Might as well. I'm done trying. So I'm just here. You want to have it? So I prayed. I actually it was looked up on a YouTube video. It was looked up on a YouTube video, a sermon, and at the end of the sermon, they prayed the prayer of salvation, and you kind of just follow along. So I had the prayer of salvation. I raised my hand, and I was like, might as well. Like, I have nothing to lose. So I went, I believe that Jesus died on the cross for me. He is my Lord and Savior. I give my life to him. And I just prayed the prayer of salvation, and oh my gosh. I know it sounds insane. I know that if you haven't experienced it, there is so much chance that you will not believe me when I say I felt something come over me, and I felt like I wasn't alone anymore, and not in a creepy way where you feel like somebody's watching you or anything. I felt like I was being held. I felt like something filled me up. Like, it felt like something filled the inside of me. Physically. Like, I physically felt something change. Something inside of my heart shifted. But in a moment. And it was so surreal. And I know it sounds crazy, but I just remember I was like, tears just started falling. Like, I had never felt something like that before. And no, it wasn't a perfect fix, but I just felt fulfilled. Like, I didn't feel empty anymore. And all I did was pray a prayer for something I didn't even know. I didn't know who Jesus was. I didn't know. Like, I didn't know anything. I knew what I've heard, like, here and there. Like, when I was a little girl, I went to church a couple times, or what my dad read from the Bible when he was beating me. But, like, so I knew, like, okay, yeah, Jesus, the guy, like, there's God, there's heaven and hell, whatever. But I didn't know anything about the story of Jesus. I didn't know what it meant for him to die on the cross for my sins. I didn't know how much he loved me. I didn't know that I didn't have to do anything to receive that love. I literally didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to change anything. I didn't have to get myself to stop drinking. I didn't have to get myself to stop having sex. I didn't have to get myself to do these things to be loved by him. He just loved me as I was. But I didn't know that in that moment. And I still felt that. That's what's so crazy is I didn't know any of that. I just didn't know. And I still felt filled. I felt loved for the first time in my life. And all I did was pray a prayer. All I did was give my life to him. I didn't even know what that meant. I know that sounds crazy. Like, I really know that sounds crazy. And I so get it if you're like, okay, yeah, this one's crazy. This one's weird. You can't tell me that I didn't experience that. Like, you weren't me. And so I still had a lot of problems after that. But there were so many things that I just felt like for the first time in my life, I felt like things started changing inside of me. It wasn't just on the outside. It was like my heart was being sewn back together. So, fast forward to a few years later. About a year ago, I really laid down my life to him, because before I gave my life to him, but I didn't really know what it meant. About a year ago, a little less than, I truly started to understand what intimacy with Jesus meant, what having a friendship with him looked like, what having a daughter-father relationship with the God who created everything, like the God who created your hands. Like, if you look at your hand, he, like, each individual line, he created you and me, and he's my dad, and he sees me as a daughter because of Jesus, and I can ask him for things, and I'm loved by him, and I'm taken care of by him. Whoa. And and once I, like, really started to understand, there was a lot that I gave my life to him, but I didn't surrender anything to him. And so about a year ago, I really started surrendering. My heart just really, like, got to a place where it was like, wow, I love Jesus so much that, like, hey, man, you're so good that even if everything was taken from me, even if I had no friends again, even if my family was taken, even if my health was taken, like my legs were cut off from me and I couldn't walk and I was in a wheelchair, even if I didn't have a car, even if I didn't have a house or a roof over my head, I was in a box on the street, even if I never married a man, even if I never found love in another human, even if I never had children, even if I never even if I lost my best friends, even if they turned their backs on me right now, even if I had lost absolutely everything in my life, and I was on the street with just Jesus and a Bible. I mean, I didn't even need the Bible. Just on the street with just Jesus, I would have been more than okay. And I still say that. I'll be okay. Like, I'm so fulfilled and loved that, yeah, I still have things that I still have a lot of problems, and a lot of it's just because I forget how loved I am. But I would be okay. And when I came to that moment where I was like, Jesus, you know what? Like, you could take everything away and I will still worship you because, first of all, you wouldn't take everything away. You're too good. You wouldn't do that. You're good. Like, you're too good to me. You would never do that unless you knew it without making it my desire too, which is crazy how that works. Old Testament God is a bit different, but with Jesus now in the center, when we're God's children now and made new and pure by the Spirit, like, he would never do that to you. And so I'm like, but, you know, if he did, he would make it my desire too. And so I just surrendered to that level, and it was just kind of like, dang, like, yeah, I'm okay with none of it. And for those of you who have listened to all of this, you know, love is something that I was looking for my whole life. I wanted love. I wanted attention, specifically in a man. I wanted it in a human man so bad. So bad. I just wanted to be held and told it was going to be okay and I love you no matter what you do. And I got to a point where I just, like, I don't know. During that surrender, I was like, you know what, Jesus? Oh, it's so freeing, chat. It's so freeing. I was like, I don't need that. I don't need anything. I don't feel attached to this anymore. I don't feel like I have to try so hard anymore. I don't need that. I'm okay if I never get it. I'm actually okay. As long as I have you, I'm fulfilled. Like, I'm so joyful. Even if I'm sad, I'm joyful. Even if I'm happy, I'm joyful. I'm joyful in everything because I have you. I have the joy of the Lord. And it's funny how God works. Because right after that, Nick walked into my life very organically. He just showed up. And guess what? Nick had just had that same experience with God. We were both being prepared for each other. And so I was like, I gave up ever needing a human man's love, and then he just sent me a human man who loved me. Like, truly loved me the way that God does. Like, truly wholesomely loves me. And it's not like this lustful attraction love. It's like a genuine love. And there's attraction. Like, I'm attracted to him, but it's not based on that. And I never thought I would have that ever. And it was the moment that I was like, you know what? I'm okay without it. You know what? Like, and it's not like oh, I'm done. I'm okay without it. Like, I'm just never going to have it. Whatever. You know what? Whatever. I'm done. I'm okay without it. I don't need it. It wasn't like that. It was like, you know what? I don't need this. Like, I'm free from that. I don't need that. In Jesus' name, I'm free from the need of the desires of this world. Like, I don't need a man to love me because I have you, Jesus, and that's enough. It's more than enough. And then he gave me that man. Right after that. And then social media. I never thought that I'd be doing this as a job. I never thought that this would be my full-time job. If you guys were listening to everything, remember whenever I said that YouTubers specifically gaming YouTubers and vlogging YouTubers, had a special place in my heart. Remember when I said I loved theater, I loved being on stage. I remember when I said I loved people. I always loved people. God created me to love people and be extroverted and a social butterfly. God created me to be someone who likes the things that I like and be the way that I am. And everything in the world turned against me. Everything told me I'm never gonna, those things suck. Like, just stop. Like everyone's just gonna hurt you. Like, you don't need to love people. They're just gonna hurt you. You don't need to, like, those things, you're bullied for those things that you like. Everything turned against me. And guess what? Guess where I am now? Guess what God created me to be doing with my life right now? I didn't grow up pretty. I didn't grow up privileged. I didn't grow up with money. I didn't grow up playing video games. I didn't start Twitch when it was started off. I didn't start making content whenever it popped off in 2016, 2018. I didn't get lucky necessarily. I got blessed, bro. I was created for a time like this. You were created for a time like this. The world doesn't get a say. The world doesn't get a say on who you are. The world doesn't get a say on what you're created for or what you're meant for. The world doesn't get a say on how good you are or how much you're going to be loved or what you're going to get and what you're not going to get. You don't get a say. You know what? You don't even get a say. Because guess what? That voice in your head that says you're not good enough, that voice in your head that's going, you know what, like, I don't deserve that, or that voice in your head that's doubting you, that voice in your head that's saying, I can't do that, that voice in your head that's saying, yeah, but, like, not me, though, that voice in your head that's saying, okay, yeah, but, like, I need it this way, I could do it, but I need this plan, not this plan, like, I need it like this, because that's what makes more sense logically, or that's what makes more sense for me, or I think that that's what love actually is. You don't get a say. You actually don't get a say. And that's amazing because now it's not on you, it's on him. It's not on you, it's on him. The moment you give up having a say in it, it's not on you anymore. So when you think, like, which is awesome because if you fail, you can blame him. But guess what? You're not going to fail when you give it up to him because it's in the hands of the creator of everything. I'm just saying, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool how your whole life you're like, okay, but surrendering my life to another person, that's like a dictatorship. That's like making him lord over my life. That sounds terrible. That sounds like I'm a slave. You are. But guess what? You're making the Lord over that you're making over your life is better than anything this world has to offer. And it's better than anything you have to offer because he created you. The Lord you're making over your life literally created you. You're going to worship yourself when you were created by something bigger than you that loves you more than you can even love yourself. You can't even love yourself well. Why are you trying to put it in your hands? Put it in someone's hands. Put it in something's hands that actually loves you. Exactly the way you're created and not what you're trying to be. God is just so good and he loves you exactly the way you are. Like, he's not asking for you to change yourself to come to him. He's not asking you to change yourself to be with him, to come to him. That's not what it means. He'll do the work for you. That's the crazy part. He does the work for you. You don't have to do the work. He does it for you. He literally does it for you. Oh my gosh. You know what's funny? For the first almost 2 years of my walk with Christ, I was so hard stuck on religion. And by religion, I mean doing A, B, and C. I was so hard stuck on doing the right thing. I was so hard stuck on trying to impress and please God that I missed the whole thing. And I improved, yeah, a little bit, But the moment that I stopped trying, oh my gosh, some people might be getting mad right now, but the moment I stopped trying so hard, the moment I stopped trying at all, the moment I didn't try to do anything, I didn't try to change myself, I didn't try to do that, guess who changed me? Jesus changed me, not me. Because I gave up control. You trying your hardest to stop doing A, B, and C, you trying to be this kind of person and not that kind of person, you trying to be holier than thou, you trying to be the holiest of the holy, you're doing that in your power, bro. You're gonna fail. You're not all that in a bag of chips. But you know who is? He is. I mean, you are all that in a bag of chips because he says you are. That's who he says you are. That's who he calls you to be. But I will say, when you put it in your hands, you're inevitably going to fail. Human hands fail. That's the world. Human hands fail. We're created in God's image, tainted by this world. Human hands fail. Our flesh is preying on our downfall. So what the heck do you think is going to happen? The moment you put it in his hands, though, the moment you're like, you know what? I'm not going to try so hard to change myself and be something different. I'm just going to focus my eyes on him, and that's it. I'm not looking at this world. I'm not looking at myself, trying to fix myself. I'm not looking at this cup. I'm not looking at social media. I'm looking at Jesus. It's me. You know what? We're going to give Stream Jesus. This is Stream Jesus. I'm going to use him as an example. This is the world. This is Jesus. We're going to say this is me. I don't know. Let's say I'm looking at the world. Oh, you're not good enough. Oh, you don't have enough money in your bank account. Oh, you know what? Like, you got to be like this. Oh, you got to get your money up, bro. Oh, like, if you say this, like, you're canceled. Bro, do you even know what a Sigma male mindset grindset is? Bro, skippity toilet riz, bro. And you're just like, the brain rot. It's crazy. It's like, okay, let's focus on myself. You got to do better. You got to change yourself. Like, you're great the way you are. Or you're perfectly, like, you just got to, like, you got to do so much different. Like, or, you know what? Like, don't change anything about yourself. You're whatever. Like, be lazy. Be lazy. That's chill. Like, whatever. Like, you know what? Whatever. Yeah. And, you know, words of affirmation, it helps. You could just look at yourself and go, you know what? You're great the way you are. Makes you feel better. But no change is going to come. Or you could try to go, you know what? Let's call you to be higher. Let's change this. Let's do that. Change will come. Change will come from that. You'll change. A little bit. And it'll be really hard. And you'll never feel good enough. And you'll never feel like you've changed enough or you're doing enough. And you're going to be so tired. It's like running a marathon. Now this is looking at Jesus. Wow, God, you're so good. You are so good to me. Jesus, you called me to be I'm your daughter, God. I'm loved. I'm called for a time like this. You say that I'm loved. I'm made holy and pure in your name. I'm blameless in your name. That's who I am. That's what you say. You're so good. Is that what the relationship with the Father looks like? Whoa, I didn't know that. That's so cool. You say the enemy has no power over me? Wow, I don't even have to think about the enemy because I'm so busy thinking about you. Wow. What even is the world saying about me? I don't even care. Like, I'm just listening to you. I'm just looking at you. I'm so in awe of your face and your presence. You're so beautiful to me that nothing else matters in this world. And guess what? You're perfect, Jesus. Since you're so perfect and you can never fail me, unlike humanity, which always fails me, then now that I'm only looking at you, I'm never going to be failed. Whoa. Wait, now that I'm doing this for so long, wait a minute. I don't care about things of this world. You know what? I'm gonna stop drinking. Like, I don't really care about that. I just want to sit at your feet. I want to be closer to you. I care more about the things that of you. I care more about you, actually. What can I do to be closer to you? I just want to be closer. It's not like I'm like trying to force myself to be closer to you so you can like me. I just want to. Like, I legit just want to be closer to you. I'm not trying to like fix myself so that you'll want me, Jesus, or so that I'm good enough to be next to you, Jesus. I just like, you're so cool and amazing and loving, and you make me feel so loved. I just want to give you anything and everything I can. That's how much I love you, and that's why I want to do things. You know what? Now it's really easy to stop drinking. Now it's really easy to quit smoking. And you know what's even easier? You are telling me that you have the power to stop it. That I have the power in you to go, actually no, like whatever. Bro, what? That's all it is. That's all a relationship with Jesus is. That's literally all it is looking in his eyes. Spending time with him. That's it. That's literally it. You know why? Because as humans, we will never be perfect, ever. We all fall short of the glory of God. And so even as Christians, yeah, we're called higher, but he does that work for us. When we stare at him and our focus is on him, that's just going to happen. That's just going to naturally happen. We're going to want to do it. It's not going to be hard. It's not going to be us trying so hard to be better. We're not going to be hating on ourselves for failing. You're not going to be worried about, like, you're just worried about him. Like, you're just thinking about him. That's all it is. And he wants you exactly the way you are. He's not worried about if you struggle with liking the same gender. He's not worried about if you don't feel right in your body. He's not worried about if you just can't help but like watch porn. He's not worried if you struggle with just, I don't know, cursing up a storm. He's not worried if you struggle with getting super angry at the people. He's not worried. He's got that. He knows that he's got that. He just needs you to give it to him. And it's okay if you aren't ready. He just wants you. He's more worried about your heart. He's not worried about the drink in your hand. He's not worried about the blunt in your hand. He's worried about your heart. He's trying to fix your heart. It's all about your heart. It's not about what you're doing. It's just about where your attention is and where your heart is. Anyways, thanks guys for joining. I love Jesus. Jesus, you're amazing. Lord, I just pray for every single one of you that his face can shine upon may shine upon each and every one of you, and that there are so many blessings coming forth in your life, that there's a hand of protection over each and every one of your lives, that you're being ministered to as we speak, that you're so, so loved. You're so loved and so cared for. And there is nothing that in your life that the enemy has any power over. He doesn't have any right to anything unless you give it to him. You are so loved and held so close to his heart. I just pray that each and every one of you just have such a, just find intimacy with him. And that there's just a freedom happening tonight for each and every one of you. I love all of you so much. I hope you have a great night. Thank you so much for being here and for listening to my story and my testimony. If you want to listen to the full thing, feel free to. It's on YouTube. It's pretty long though. It's like 2 hours. It's 2.5 hours long, and that's like the whole story. Like that's not just me chatting today. But yeah, you guys are so loved. I will be back to just regular old gaming tomorrow, hanging out with the community. We do have a community game day later this week. I'm thinking of just doing it Thursday, community game day Thursday. I love you guys so much. I love you all. Truly. I really, truly love you all so much. I don't deserve any of you, and I'm just so glad that you're all here. I even love Luan. Raid Trevor. Oh, I wasn't gonna raid anyone. I was just kind of like leave it as is, but I guess I can raid someone. Guess we could spread the love. What's Trevor's username again? What's his username again? I hope you guys are here tomorrow. I'm not feeling the greatest today. Thank you, Brett. Thank you so much for the Prime sub. That's so kind. I'm not feeling the greatest, like, health-wise today. So sorry to everyone who was, like, wanting, like, a longer stream. I love you all so much. I hope you have a good night. I'll hang out with you guys later this week. We'll have lots of fun. I'm getting back on that streamer grind, that daily streamer grind, you know what I'm saying? All right. If you guys want to join the Discord, exclamation point Discord and chat. If you guys want to see any of my other socials, exclamation point socials and chat. If you guys want to subscribe, you could do that too. If you want to, I don't know, come back later, you follow, hit that like and notification bell. Yeah. Okay. I love you all so much. I hope you have an awesome, amazing, beautiful rest of your day. And I love you guys so much. And I know it's a little different from what I usually do, but I hope you guys enjoyed. I really do.